Hello and welcome back. This is the chapter 6 and 7 of module 1 of the certificate called as Sustainability Climate Risk or GALP SCR. So chapter 6 deals with IPCC report, whereas chapter 7 deals with integrated assessment model. Let's study them one by one. So we know that IPCC is a scientific body that releases climate change reports. According to this report, they stated that global warming is unequivocal because atmosphere and ocean temperature is increasing, snow and ice is melting at a rapid pace, mean sea level is increasing as we know that ocean is absorbing large amount of heat content, greenhouse gas concentration, that is carbon dioxide, methane and nitrous oxide, is increasing, and due to this warming is taking place. Atmosphere. So IPCC had released this report in which, as you can see, average temperature of the world is increasing. They estimated that 0.85 degrees centigrade warming has increased between the period of 1885 to 2012. And what is astonishing is the fact that majority of warming took place between the period of 2003 and 2012. Global troposphere, that is a layer we reside in the atmosphere, has warmed since mid 20th century. IPCC is most certain about that. However, the intensity of it is not certain and it is given with a medium confidence level. IPCC had also stated that cold days and night are decreasing all over the world, whereas warm days and night are increasing. Heat waves are predominantly increasing in places like Europe, Asia and Australia. Also, annual mean temperature is increasing in tropic and semi-tropic region rather than mid-latitude region. IPCC had released a graph in which warming data for the period 1901 to 2012 of all the locations in the world is shown. What happened in ocean and water cycle? We know that 90% of heat energy is accumulated in ocean, and it has been proved by the fact. Also, as per IPCC projection, mean sea level would continue to increase. They have given their projection for 2065 and 2100. Regions that are having high salinity would continue to become more saline as we go in the future, whereas regions that are having low salinity would be becoming more fresh. So this is another phenomena that is known as Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation. In this phenomena, high saline water cools and it sinks in the North Atlantic, whereby it transports to the Pacific Ocean. And from that region, hot water comes to that region. Scientists have predicted that there is no correlation between AMOC and climate change. However, as per various reports and observation, scientists have predicted that heat is penetrating from surface ocean water to deep sea ocean water. What is happening in cryosphere? Northern hemisphere spring snow cover is reducing, and due to this, Greenland and Antarctica ice sheet is decreasing. Arctic is receding rapidly during the month of summer. Scientists have estimated that there has not been a single summer season in which there has not been recession in Arctic region. Permafrost is decreasing. Some of the regions where it is predominant is northern Alaska and North Russia, Europe. As Arctic ice level is decreasing, northern hemisphere snow cover is also decreasing, whereby global glacial volume is decreasing. But scientists are not able to predict when Arctic will be ice free. Mean sea level. So, as stated before, mean sea level is increasing. As per various estimation, it is increased by 0.19 meter between the period of 1901 and 2010. Scientists predict mean sea level by tide gauge and satellite altimeter. According to IPCC, 75% increase in mean sea level is due to glacial mass loss as well as ocean thermal expansion. However, 25% is due to collapse of marine-based sector. So what the climate change has done to carbon and other geochemical cycle? Carbon dioxide is increasing. We have studied in the earlier videos that carbon dioxide is increasing at the rate of 2 to 3 ppm per year. We know that atmospheric concentration of carbon dioxide, methane and nitrous oxide is increasing, and carbon dioxide had increased around 40%. Majority of this carbon dioxide is residing in ocean, due to which acidification is taking place and ocean's pH level is decreasing. So what are the drivers of climate change? IPCC had used this method, which is known as radiative forcing method. So radiative forcing helps in quantifying changes in energy flux. If there is a positive RF, it would correspond to surface warming, whereas negative one would correspond to cooling. So as you can see from this table, carbon dioxide is the major constituent of global warming, which is also calculated by radiative forcing. Apart from the greenhouse gases, carbon monoxide and nitrous oxide and all other gases are mentioned, which are also hampering our climate. Aerosols are also hampering our climate, and their radiative forcing is also calculated here. What is the total effect of it? We can see that radiative forcing has increased to double the one that was visible in 1950. So yeah. So what is the climate system? So we know that input of solar has been changing. Due to this, there has been change in precipitation as well as evaporation. Ocean are changing because of circulation as well as sea level. There has been change in land surface due to change in land use, change in vegetation and ecosystem. Cryosphere is changing because of sea ice melting as well as snow that is melting and glaciers which are receding. So what is the net effect of it? The net effect is that atmosphere and biosphere interaction is changing, and due to this change, there are changes in hydrological cycle as well as in atmosphere composition as well as in circulation. So the next topic was integrated assessment model. So integrated assessment models are used to evaluate technological and economic feasibility of climate goals. These are the different types of IAMs that are there in the world. These IAM models are constructed by three different models. The first one is energy system model. Historically, energy system models were used to optimize fossil fuel and nuclear use. The basic premise of energy system model was resource supply and societal demand. The price of the energy system would be decided, and hereby this model would be formulated. The second model is the economic system modeling. It is based on market-based economy that is given by Hayek. So Hayek was an economist who stated that markets are in equilibrium as they have the perfect information, and they are highly efficient as that information can be easily dissipated into the system. Another is the climate science model. So in a climate science model, they integrate physics and chemistry of atmosphere, carbon cycle and ocean, and they then translate it into greenhouse gas emission, air pollutants, greenhouse gas concentration, radiative forcing and temperature. So in an integrated assessment model, from the energy system model, long-term development in regional or global energy system is taken, in addition to simplified version of economic as well as climate science models. IIMs consider temperature as externally determined parameter, so it is not determined by them, but their whole model is based on that. IIMs are created to determine least cost pathways, that is the least cost that would be possible based on the temperature that is decided by this model. So in the Paris Agreement, before the Paris Agreement was signed, during the period of 2005 to 2015, majority of IMs were not successful, and the biggest reason for that was renewable energy. In 2005, renewable costing was at peak, which considerably decreased, and right now we can see that majority of IMs can estimate that 1.5 to 2 degrees centigrade is feasible by following some parameters. 2 degrees centigrade versus 1.5 degrees centigrade. So IPCC had predicted that for 1.5 degrees centigrade, 0.06% per year GDP of the whole world would decrease, whereas for the 2 degrees centigrade, it would be 3 times higher than the 1.5 degrees centigrade for long term. But IIMs are not able to account for rapid or dramatic changes in prediction. So what are these kinds of changes? These can be in the form of technology advancement. So technology advancement can be change in technology in renewable, government policy such as adoption of renewable in place of fossil fuel, even though the economics does not state that, or due to public pressure, like it happened in European Union and Canada, where coal was done away with. Virtuous cycle. So due to these policy as well as public pressure and technology advancement, there was sharp increase in renewable installation and purchase that induced both learning and scale effect that drove down cost, making further installation more attractive. So all this thing is happening, but this is not seen in the model. Fossil fuel phase out and carbon capture storage. So in IM model, carbon capture storage is used for taking out fossil fuel emission. However, majority of models are using natural gas plus carbon capture storage model, but we are seeing that natural gas is getting replaced by renewable. Also, in majority of models, overestimation of nuclear gas is taking place. Uptake of electric vehicle and hydrogen powered fuel cell electric vehicle. Electric vehicles are predominantly coming in private transport and freight sector. They are replacing natural gas, which was used in those technologies. However, these models are also not able to predict what would be the share of electric vehicles in 2030 and what would be the number of EV charging stations needed for personal vehicle transport. Demand side and energy efficiency measures. Traditionally, IIMs represent supply side management at highest detail alongside energy efficiency. However, there have been many behavioral or lifestyle changes such as decrease in meat consumption, decrease in population, as well as change in transport mode from fossil to renewable. Carbon dioxide removal. We know that carbon dioxide and methane stay in the Earth's atmosphere for longer years. Their lifetime is more than 100 years. So for carbon dioxide removal, two methods are majorly used. The first is storing carbon in forest, which can be in the form of afforestation or reforestation. IIM models have not been able to put this into their models. However, bioenergy plus carbon capture storage has been used in their models. But the problem is that majority of bioenergy is produced near the forest area, and these IIMs have not been able to calculate or take into consideration the biodiversity hotspot, natural forest, and conservation areas. So, what is the conclusion of all of IIM? IIMs are not able to avoid negative externalities. So, some negative externalities such as rapid electrification that is happening in the steel, transport, and building sector, which is reducing climate change, that is not being accounted for in the IIM model. The second is the post-processing benefit, that is health benefit that would be possible if greenhouse gas emission is reduced, that is not considered in the IM model. IM model are based on the premise that emission needs to be reduced as much as possible with carbon dioxide removal and carbon capture storage. They is used with different parameters to make sure that this follow Paris Agreement, that is 1.52 degree pre-industrial levels. So this was model 1 of GALP SCR. I hope you like this video. Subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon, like, share and comment, and we will meet soon.